Let's go. Let's go. Best greetings from Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Victor Furso, and today I will be talking about insects. This is my channel, Dr. Victor Furso, entomologist, beekeeper, teacher. I announced this stream, which will be devoted to insects in Japan. Why about Japan, you would say so? Because I'm from Ukraine, and by the way, I'm not Japanese, yes, you can recognize. But nevertheless, I will be speaking English for better understanding in other countries, because YouTube is just miracle. You can join us all around the world. Maybe just now in Japan it's still morning time, but still some people can watch me later. Nevertheless, Japanese insects are very interesting for me because I have been in Japan a few times. So I've seen it on my own eyes, and I'm very pleased to share my experience, my thoughts, my ideas about Japanese insects, about Japanese people, how do they feel about insects, how do they study insects, how they can approach to insects. And I've been creating already a few my videos in Russian language about Japan and Japanese insects, and some also in English language devoted to Bugs Hotel, insects collection in Japan. But this review will be about different insects. Well, probably some Russian-speaking audience who is just still watching me, just very much attracted by some Japanese channels. Actually, not Japanese, but just Russian-speaking channels about Japan. For example, some channel like a Pan Gaijin, yes, someone from Ukraine who came to Japan and living in Yokohama. Pan Gaijin, hello, best greetings. Tori-chan, young Ukrainian girl, already a woman and wife, who just was married with Japanese man and now is living in Japan. And she was graduated in Japanese university as designer. And Ukrainian man, he is just also artist. And some other families already living in Japan and enjoying Japan very much and working in Japan. I have been visiting Japan as a professional biologist, as entomologist, and I studied insects. Actually, I have been studying insects under microscope. I use special microscopic slides. I prepared very tiny microscopic slides and watched my material under the microscope, took some photos, and made identification of parasitic wasps. These are tiny parasitic wasps. Just behind me on this poster, parasitic insects belonging to superfamily Calcididae wasp. Calcididae. I studied Trichoramatida family. Very tiny parasitic wasps, just 1 millimeter or less than 1 millimeter up to 0.2 millimeters. Very tiny. But all insects around still existed, and I love them very much. And I'm very pleased to talk about them. Actually, if you want to talk with me, so you can also record this. This is my Skype. You can easily contact with me on this Skype or use this email. Oh, by the way, just don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Press here somewhere on a bell and subscribe and press on like. Subscribing will be just easy for our connections, so you will receive notifications about my videos. Well, what's about insects in Japan? Some people are thinking the Japanese insects, but do love Japanese insects and insects at whole very much. This is different. This is different because people are different. Don't forget that more than 180 million of Japanese people, the population, by the way, approximately 6 times more than in Ukraine. I guess so, but still approach to nature and insects and invertebrates and animals is completely different. First of all, just Japanese people, they accept better surrounding nature, and so they watching for nature more carefully. But still some people, they take care about insects. I have been in contact with entomologists who are studying insects, different groups. But what about another people? First of all, Japanese people will ask, do you like our cicadas? cicadas, semi, because they are very noisy. Yes, and these tiny cicadas, so you can see so tiny, very tiny like my nose. Not tiny, very big and very noisy. Semi-cicadas. Okay, with transparent wings, Mimi-semi, and with brown wings, Abura-semi. Transparent, so you can recognize this. You see transparent and brown wings. So they're flying around everywhere in June, in July, and making their sounds, and they're very noisy. And it's really very nice. I said, no, I love them very much because they're noisy and it's a great pleasure to listen to them. Also, there are some cocoons on trees, on some trees, and these cocoons containing pupa of, not pupa, larvae, but pupa, you see the brown color. This is actually dead pupa of moth. There are a lot of different species of deciduous trees in deciduous forest. So many moths were just developing on just somewhere in canopy on trees, and sometimes so many of them, but you can listen to some sounds. So just this is just dropping down, and some caterpillars were just crawling around in the canopy of oats and other trees. And even once I've seen, before pupation, all these caterpillars, they came down from trees and they were migrating. They were migrating like ants, so many of them. Yes, because I've been driving my bicycle and I stopped because so many caterpillars. Unfortunately, at this moment, I didn't have my camera. I always had my camera and made photos, still not digital in this time. But I made photos of nature and Japanese insects later in forest, in lakes, near rivers, near ponds, in paddy fields, and it was a really enjoyable time. So moths, they're very much around big size caterpillars. They're sitting and eating trees and shrubs everywhere, and then later evening time they will be flying. But in daytime, you know, in Japan there is a subtropical, more or less subtropical climate in southern areas from Tokyo. Okay, the temperate climate somewhere in Hokkaido definitely we would call winter. But already around Saitama, around Tokyo, in Nagoya, in Fukuoka, there is a subtropical species, climate, and subtropical species of insects were living everywhere around, and some butterflies were flying already subtropical, and were very colorful. Actually, in our temperate region, we have sometimes in summer explosion population of some butterflies, but very few. But in Nagoya, for instance, in Tsukuba, there are a lot of different citrus trees, like oranges, Chinese oranges, just they're very sour and not very tasty, but big size of oranges everywhere around, just in a courtyard of private houses. I even asked, this orange is sweet or not? No, my colleague said, they're very sour, bitter and sour, very not so tasty. But on these oranges, there are special caterpillars, papilio caterpillars, long-tail butterflies, very nice. So very big, very green. I don't have here picture of them, or just. But if you touch caterpillar will show you two red. If you're gonna watch on this caterpillar will make it two special horns, because this is papilio caterpillar, and they're very common on orange trees, because orange trees just ornamental tree everywhere around near houses. Definitely to go to watch for insects, you need to have just this magnification glass, which can be big one or small one, but much easier to watch for insects under the microscope, or to using your video camera. Just open camera and just recording some insects. At the present moment with digital camera became much easier than before, because if you have camera with a high magnification like over 40 or 54, like I have camera Sony with 54 magnification, recording is very nice. So I can record insects on a certain distance, on a large distance. So and the size of insects will be very big. And actually you do not touch insect, you do not warn insect, and so insect will be behaving naturally. And it's a great advantage to use a high magnification of camera. So try to use it. And of course, this easy moving magnification on such cameras like portable cameras like Sony or Panasonic is a very convenient. And actually I use this screen on camera to keep it on me, because when you're traveling, always you can find insects or you can take a photo. So take a photo, take a camera, take a video, because video camera allows to make a photo and video as well. So what's about another insects? Definitely it's better to go to the nature with a sweeping net, for collecting. And Japanese children may go to the parks with the sweeping nets. In our areas, somewhere in Ukraine, yes, there are some butterfly nets in a shop. And even some once in the summer, I've met young child somewhere in the center of city with parents, and he was going with a butterfly net. But in Japan, it's very common. If you could go to park, everywhere in the park there are parents and children with a butterfly nets. Because they're collecting cicadas or semis. And for them, this is a great enjoyment. So we're running around, we're collecting not butterflies, but cicadas, because cicadas fly not so quickly. Very easy to collect cicadas, and it's really great enjoyment. But of course, Japanese, they enjoy big insects as well, especially different beetles. In our area, we have a very common ladybug who run to the sun. So we have this is counting. But in Japan, they have very big rhino beetles and longhorn beetles. And some Japanese, they do like very much collecting them in the nature. Even there are some special shops. People are coming to the shops. Like we have shops with our pets. Shops and markets with pets, like dogs, like cats, like fish. Dog is much better than fish, because dog can make sound and can understand very much. Fish doesn't speak. Dog can bark, so they can communicate and can work as a watch cloaks. But in Japan, some dogs, not so many dogs, actually, because it's not allowed for some people to keep dog in a private house. You need to receive permission from the landlord. Even to keep small dog, they say, landlord say, this dog or this cat will damage my private property in this house. And many Japanese, they are just renting houses, renting apartments. And in a renting apartment, you need to pay for your dog or your cat. This is very inconvenient. And dog, of course, can make some noise. And Japanese, they don't like to disturb other people, so that's why to keep a dog or cat sometimes a problem for them if they have small size apartment. But some people, if they're living in private houses, in large private houses like a farmer, somewhere in a village, little bit outside of a city, in a private house, not in an apartment. They may have very big sized dog and few cats. So they like pets very much because you can communicate with your pets. But insects, this is another kind of pet, very tiny pet. Insect is smaller than dog, right? So this is a dog and this is insect, who is smaller. Insect is much smaller, definitely. Of course, many people don't like cockroaches. They like beetles. That's why cockroaches, only Madagascar cockroaches, very popular in beetle shop, because they hissing Madagascar cockroaches, very funny, and when running not so fast. If they are running, they will not survive in your house. So that's a great advantage. So they will die. I have in my Facebook friends one of Japanese young man who is just working in one of the Japanese museums, natural history museum, and he has a great collection of different species, more than 30 species of cockroaches in his governmental collection of a special insect zoo in the museum. Kanagawa, probably in Kanagawa Museum, if I am not missing the correct name. In Kanagawa Museum, Natural History Museum, there is a insect museum, and he has a very nice collection of different species of cockroaches. So beetles, some people going for beetles to buy them in shop, others going to buy plastic beetles or just maybe plastic pets because they're very convenient. And these types, actually Chinese replicas, more or less very simple, but Japanese replicas, 3D replicas of insects. So that's why you can even disassemble a beetle, and actually has no wings, definitely, but beetles, they have wings, so you can disassemble wings, disassemble legs, everything, and then assemble again. So some beetles, some insects replicas are very clever and very nice, as a really great, very nice gift. So, and they are everywhere around, very common for children. So that's why they can buy it everywhere in a shop together with sweets. Some insects in Japan very common, like tombo, like dragonflies. In Japanese, tombo, this is a dragonfly. Yeah, because Japan is not only semi-tropical country, but with huge areas, territories all around filled with water because of rice paddy fields. Paddy fields, because some farmers still growing rice, despite great economical development in Japan. In industry, in all types of industries, in electronic industry, agriculture is supported by the government, and farmers they have support. So they are growing rice. So a lot of areas filled with the water, rice is growing. So they use insecticides, but not everywhere, not all the time. There are also some small lakes, small streams, and on these lakes, streams, and rice paddy fields, a lot of dragonflies running, flying everywhere. These are big dragonflies, small dumpster flies, a lot of different species. So, and it's a great enjoyment for people to find them, to collect them, to hunt for them. So a lot of different games, how to hunt for dragonflies, how to stay and catch it, because dragonfly can fly very quickly. So if you are running, you open your net, dragonfly will just fly over your net, or just change the way. and can fly very quickly. For dragonflies, great maneuvering insect, so easy, very easy to escape. Okay, dragonflies everywhere. Nice insect for collecting in Japan. Dragonflies. Tori-chan, for instance, Tori-chan or Izumi-chan. We were telling that a lot of different bees flying around. So they're very annoying. Very annoying. Mosquitoes, beetles and mosquitoes flying around. And bees. Well. Mosquitoes, yes, they exist because of water. Definitely. Flies, okay, flies flying around. She said also cockroaches. I've seen like some flying cockroaches. Okay, flying cockroaches, what's the problem? Actually, I haven't seen flying cockroaches in Japan, never. But I've seen running cockroaches near restaurants in Turkish Republic. Yeah, when I visited Alanya, I was very surprised because it was so hot, over 35 in evening time, and some cockroaches were running somewhere on road near restaurants. Yes, I said, and I don't know, I would like to go to this particular restaurant because cockroach was running from one restaurant to another restaurant. But this is not the case in Japan. In Japan, everything is sprayed with spray, with chemicals, with insecticides, rice paddy fields, other agricultural fields, restaurants, houses, apartments, everywhere sprayed with pesticides, with sprayer, which is starting from springtime, spraying everywhere around against flies, caterpillars, moths, beetles, against all pests everywhere around. I've seen in campus like a hardener was walking around the trees near shrubs and collecting one by one caterpillars. Okay, always like some Japanese gardeners, even driver has his sleeves, and he was in his sleeves and collecting hairy caterpillars just in a jar. I said, oh, very ecological approach. So he collected in a jar caterpillars, a lot of, I said, ecological. No at all. Just in a lunchtime, you see, I've seen my big machine, spraying machine, which was just driving around just near shrubs and sprayed, and it sprayed everywhere. And so after caterpillars were collected, just everything was sprayed with chemicals. And this is very common approach in Japan. Spray everywhere around. In Turkish Republic, especially in the southern areas where a lot of different fruits, like incir, like fruit, ficus trees, tomatoes, cucumbers, all fruits are growing. Also very common spraying. So the same in Japan, everything is sprayed. So that's why in many rice paddy fields, cockroaches, crickets and grasshoppers will not survive. They will just die immediately. So, but nevertheless, if it was not sprayed yet, some some grasshoppers making noise in a rice field and running around and eating sometimes rice field rice. So because some cockroaches, they do like cockroaches, some grasshoppers they like to eat some rice very much. So in a rice field, very easy to find dragonflies, definitely, grasshoppers near rice field, very easy to find crickets, ants definitely everywhere around, running everywhere around on trees, on shrubs, on just around everywhere around. Ants very common everywhere. They are not coming again to apartments. Apartments are sealed very carefully. Apartments sealed very carefully So I have never seen ants in apartment because also maybe every month Japanese use spraying everywhere insecticides, pesticides around apartments to avoid any insects near houses. So usually apartment is very clean. No one cockroach will not survive after spraying heavy Japanese insecticides. One particular insect which is very common in Japan and which Japanese like very much, this is kamakiri. Kamakiri in Japanese, which means this praying mantis. Praying mantis is very common, running everywhere around in the second part of the summer. Green or brown, and it's very popular because making just movement, searching for prey, and there is also a special TV program on NHK program where one Japanese artist man, he just dressing like a kamakiri, and he's making very nice nature studying programs about insects, about nature, about different species of insects like bees, bumblebees, dragonflies, grasshoppers. So there is a special program in NHK with a Kamakiri sensei. With Kamakiri sensei, because he is dressing in a green clothes. If somebody from Japan will watching me, please write, have you seen this program? Do you like this program? With a Kamakiri sensei. He has a special mask, green mask. Even he was just making kind of experiments. Kamakiri sensei, how insect can fly. He used special artificial wings. Program made a special artificial wings, and he just tried to make some flapping. Flapping was very heavy because he made maybe 2-3 flaps in a second. But insects making more than 200 flapping with insects and can fly. But he was keeping his wings behind him, and he was just on a special rope, and then fall down just again and try to use these wings. Okay, didn't fly definitely, but program is very creative. So I really advise to search for some series of this Kamakiri Sensei entomological program, which is already uploaded on some channels in YouTube. I'm not sure about copyrights, but it is in Japanese and very nice Japanese program with Kamakiri Sensei as teacher. As a teacher making different programs about insects in Japan, and also he visited even Indonesia. Finally, talking about insects, I wanted to start with the beginning with review of this very nice book, Mitsuhiko Imamori, photographer and naturalist. And I already showed this book in my previous videos, but it's always a great pleasure to open, to watch, to just look inside this book, because here different insects, photos not only in collection like spread insects, like dead insects like these cicadas, like this dragonfly mantis, this mantid praying mantis, this beetles, grasshoppers, spiders, again white butterfly, this longicorn beetles, with here spiders again, but also here many very interesting photos in the nature about insects. And actually book is separated on 4 seasons. 4 seasons. Already now season of autumn, but I still like to show this photo with a Hotaru. Hotaru, this is firefly beetle. Firefly beetle, which is appearing in June. You see, very nice tiny abdomen with a light of Hataru, firefly beetle. I've seen Hataru near the stream. One of my friend Muroi-san, he showed me special village with protected stream where larvae and beetles of Hataru were under protection of law. Yes, it was a really great pleasure to see how Hatarus are flying near the stream, because larvae of Hataru developing on snails inside very clean river streams. And it was very tiny stream, not very deep. And Hataru laying eggs and larvae developing inside water and hunting on small snails, eating snails. And it's very important to have clean stream, because if stream will be polluted with chemicals, with all another pollutants, will be no snails and no Hataru at all. So that's why people of this village trying to take care about these beetles. Here a lot of different interesting photos indicating small tiny photos and small stories about it. For example, here in the summertime, many insects appear. So here, for example, portraits of grasshoppers, portraits of spider, portrait of night moths, dragonflies. On a close distance, on a macro distance, insects looks very, very nice. Very, how Japanese say, kawaii. Kawaii, so it means nice, lovely. Here just mimicry. Here some photos under the water, so with some larvae of dragonflies and hunting for fish, for example. And here even some eggs of aquatic bugs, because of lakes, water bodies and streams. There are a lot of aquatic beetles, Dytiscidae, hydrophilidae beetles, other families of aquatic beetles, and aquatic bugs or hemiptera belonging to Coryxidae, Hydrometridae, and all these tiny beetles and bugs were living under the water, laying eggs like this. Tiny eggs, very nice. Oh, these eggs. Even one aquatic bug is very big. I'm not sure if it's here. Yeah, like this one. This aquatic bug is really huge. I guess a little bit less than this. And all right, approximately a little bit less than this termite. And this bug is laying eggs in water, but finally laying eggs on the surface of its back, just on the back of his body, and carrying all this package of eggs, just protecting eggs from another predators, because other bugs and other insects and animals want to eat it, making special food, and then with this food put them just near on the body. Okay, here about spiders. Kamakiri sensei was hunting for this bug near the stream. Okay, here black colored, here tiny dots with fireflies. And here, because of summer, a lot of wasps. Wasps are very common in Japan, definitely. This is Polistes wasps, which are making not very big nests. So this is photos of hatching and emergence and metamorphosis of dragonflies. Very careful observation to take photos, step by step, all stages of metamorphosis. Okay, and here in September this is a part with a different grasshoppers. So here, the molting process of grasshopper, difficult to see, but there is just like a field with some watermelons, and one green grasshopper is just molting, just to take it. Also the process of metamorphosis, taking off his skin. So in autumn time, in August and September time, a lot of dragonflies flying around because this is a cycle of their development. So dragonflies flying and laying eggs under the water or inside water or inside aquatic plants. So very interesting subject to study dragonflies. Here some beetles and aquatic beetles with Dytiscidae. Dytiscidae also huge number of Dytiscidae living in different waters, water lakes and ponds. Here molting of aquatic insects. So collecting insects with a light, very productive, very easy. So here some photos of butterflies. And here, for instance, a photo of different aquatic insects collected just in water. Here actually shells of different insects. Shells of cicadas, shell of dragonflies, shell of this aquatic bug. Here this shell of mantis, praying mantis, shell of this aquatic bug as well. So very interesting, funny collection. Even shells of spider as well. So with not Golometabolous or Hemimetabolous insects, which are making whole Hemimetabolous metamorphosis, slow development, and taking off skin. Yes. All right. Here in September, this is very nice cricket. This cricket is very popular in Japan because making special noise, very nice, very tiny noise. Even there were special cages, handmade cages in Japan to carry this, to breed this cricket, to catch, breed, and keep this cricket in cage, in wooden cage, just to enjoy the sun. How this cricket is seeing the sun inside the cage, maybe cage. And cage is portable from house to house, just to enjoy the noise. Enjoy the noise. Here collection. Here this also again some Palistes. And I wanted to show here some big, okay, here rice paddy fields and some tiny parasitoids, as you can see here, these braconid parasitoids, calcite parasitoids, like behind of me, calcididae, and this is braconidae family, braconidae family. And in rice paddy field, which is already after harvesting, all insects were just hibernating or overwintering. Here some spiders, and here some. Yes, here this very big Asian hornets, wasps. Yes, there is a very big Asian hornet, subspecies Vespa mandarina in China and Vespa japonica in Japan, and some other species, which are very close species of hornets. Very big, about size of this grasshopper, so just half of my finger, so pretty big, about 4 centimeters long. So we're making more or less huge nest, and hornets very dangerous. It's considered they even kill some few people every year because they're very dangerous and stinging very hard. Actually, fortunately, I have never seen this very nice and very big hornet. In Ukraine, in Russia, hornet is very common, but we have a hornet Vespa europea, which is smaller. Vespa mandarina from China already was recorded a species penetrating the borders and appeared in United States, and another species from China, Vespa velutina, appeared in Europe. So maybe this very big species, Vespa, giant Asian hornet Vespa mandarina and Vespa japonica can appear in certain period of time somewhere in European and in Asian regions as well. Who knows, never knows, because all this transportation and migration of people now just from one side is limited, but nevertheless all just invasive species together appearing in new places together with goods, together with containers, with cars, with coaches, with airplanes. So some insects with wind as well. So with wind, so people are migrating globally and insects are migrating globally. People are buying insects, and people are buying not only insects, people are buying different food, different goods, different furniture, everything packed in packages. So some insects crawling and migrating to new areas like Europe, America, or to Japan as well from another areas. So or very nice grasshoppers, also acridids, very nice with a very long nose, You see here, this is a very tiny grasshopper with a very short antennae. But usually this type of grasshopper has a long antenna. But if he has a very long nose, this will be acrids. Acrids also very common in Japan. And of course, there are a lot of very tiny parasitoids. Tiny parasitoids, which are hidden from naked eyes. So they're hidden somewhere in grass, in trees. They're hunting for another insects, because parasitoids were developing inside another insects. They're larvae, definitely. And it's possible to collect them easily with a special method. And this method is called yellow pen traps. So yes, I'm very pleased to introduce. If you use yellow pen traps, it was easy to put it. It is easy to put it. And I've been using it in different countries. So only one feature you need to use. Bright color yellow pen traps, better with lemon colors or even with little bit orange color, more or less suitable. And deeper yellow pen trap is the better, like this one. Deeper the better. Here about 250 milliliters of water. Larger also will be better because the evaporation will be less. So you need to fill this plate with the water, not just with water. We'll prepare a special solution, liquid. Water, 1 spoon of shampoo, detergent, and 1 spoon of salt. Mix it in a box, in a bottle, and then fill each of these plates on a distance between them 30 millimeters, 1 meter. And insects, very tiny insects, will be jumping, will be crawling, will be slowly moving and catching, will be collected, will be caught inside these plates. These plates you can manage, you can put it on the grass. Some will be flying and fall down because they will be attracted with light, because of light, yellow color with light. Some will be attracted with a sense of water because it will be on the surface around, so some will be crawling and want to get water like ants. So they're slightly annoying, so they will be drawn again. So sometimes many ants will be drawn, but others will be just flying and jumping and drawn as well. So yellow pen traps, very good traps for collecting insects everywhere around, also in Japan. After collecting, you need to feel this time. You need to use this small aquarium net. Put here the water like this. For example, here a lot of insects. You use the water, you feel. Yes, you feel in here all insects, and you are bringing these insects to home, to laboratory. Clean it under the fresh water. About 5 minutes to 5 minutes, and then put it in container with 100 or 96% alcohol. Put it in container. Don't worry about insects. They will be with some small pieces of leaves, sticks, some dust, but still they will be very flexible. Easy to put them here because of mesh is very strong. Mesh is very tight here for baby fish. For baby fish, less than 1 millimeter. So that's why you can collect here not only big insects more than 5 millimeters, but the smallest less than 1 millimeter. So all of these can be collected and then fixed, not in such plastic jar, but in such small jars. For example, it's easy to use some jars like this with tightly closed lid. Close it, so alcohol will not evaporate. And drop here inside the label with description: country, city, province, date, name of collector, and date of collecting and place of collecting. So the time, don't forget, few days if you collect it. And this material will be very useful for study if you made it in Japan or in any other countries. So I'm very pleased to explain this method of collecting with the yellow pen traps, all this because this is very fruitful method for hunting insects, for collecting insects, such a lazy method. But of course, sorting from these plates, not so lazy because you need to clean 1, clean 2, clean 3, and bring them to the laboratory, all these insects carefully, despite they are just flexible and slightly rigid. So be careful bringing it to the laboratory and fix insects in alcohol in such kind of jars. And it will be very useful material for scientific study. So otherwise you can use collected insects and put them in special boxes on a cotton layers. So many Japanese people making collections. So I also made a collection. So you see this box also with collection, and here some special cotton layers, envelopes tightly closed, so no one small tiny insect as a pest will come. You need to make this type of envelope. So you see this envelope was done in Japan. You can recognize some rape and sign from Japan. I made some colorful pictures here. And this envelope, if you collected insects dry, you can put them dry on cotton, close it. Here one cicada, I show you, like this one. Put insects on cotton layer write here the label where it was collected, and you can close with the filter paper. Just do not allow them to jump, to miss them, and to mix all together, just because they're on label. So each insect will be separated separately in a special quadrate with a label, country, place, date, collector, and plant where it was collected, day, and maybe even time. And then just you need to put it in container, fix it, close it. And many Japanese people like collecting insects, and it's very good because this is a real national heritage to keep collection of insects, and of course give it for the study to experts, because a lot of entomologists, professional entomologists in Japan, some professional entomologists study parasitic wasps. If you are interested in identification of parasitic wasps or parasitic egg parasitoids, so I will be very pleased to contact with you to make identification of your parasitic wasps. Parasitic wasps, like this tiny parasitic wasp of a family, Trichogrammatide. They're very small, less than 1 millimeter. I have my dog relaxed with me. Very tiny dog. So my parasitoid is also very, very tiny, 0.5 millimeter. So if you collect them in alcohol, in small jars, even your material will not be sorted. We can sort this material for identification. And among this unsorted material, we can select with a brush, with a tiny brush, just among this tiny material, and with small forceps, with small pins, we can select small tiny parasitoids like this, like here, this tiny. You can see, cannot see, but on another video, see, this is Trichogrammatide family. Tiny parasitic wasp for identification and for searching in the search of new fauna species, maybe new species for the science, maybe new record for the fauna of special territory. So if you are living in some areas which are unstudied, but in Japan, for instance, many places still unstudied regarding tiny parasitic wasps. But if you are in other areas close to Japan or other places, you can use this yellow pen traps for collecting and can contact me as expert for identification. And of course, if it was interesting information for you, please contact me on Skype, or you can use my Patreon page. This is crowdfunding platform with explanation of my video recording projects. So visit Patreon page. I will be really very pleased for your financial support, because financial support means some motivation and give some flexibilities in buying some equipment, some cages, some cameras, just renovating camera and making equipment better with better quality video as well. So, and participating in Patreon, you will be participating personally in creation of new my video together with you. So your support is invaluable, valuable, and at the same time really invaluable, because this is face-to-face support to the science, entomology, and study of insects and invertebrates, biodiversity, in the search of new records, new species, recording new unstudied behavior and interesting biology of insects. Because today I was talking about insects living in Japan, but on my video you can see different insects which are living everywhere around here in Ukraine or in other countries. So thank you for watching. write your comments and questions under my video, and looking forward to see you a subscriber on my channel. Press like, write your comments and ask your questions, and subscribe if you are first time. Bye bye. See you soon on my channel.